Hello everybody, welcome to a very special devlog. Why is this devlog so special? Well, for the first time, you, yes you, sitting there, can play my game. You can play the demo. The demo consists of the first 3 levels, and is kind of like the first act of the game. I'm not really breaking my game apart into acts, but it's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So immediately after this video concludes, you must go to Steam and download my demo immediately. It's been a long road, but I think the demo is finally in a good enough state to where I can show it to people. I think it's a good representation for where I want to take the game, but I'm sure there are some imperfections that hopefully will get exposed with feedback. And for that I am relying on you for. So please, give me feedback. If you play it, which please play it. It's been a little minute since the last video, but I assure you I've been hard at work and definitely not slacking off at all. Unfortunately, a lot of those things are really just quality of life things, like tiny bug fixes and optimization, so it's kind of hard to show them, so I might just like spam list all of them out at the end of the video. But I think I'll just jump into some of the big changes that I made this month. So I had 3 seemingly unrelated problems that I had. The first problem was, some of my friends, when they were playtesting, they just had some trouble finding where to go. Especially after the shotgun, when you collect that, a lot of people were confused. Where you're supposed to go is this area here, where there's an enemy here that shoots you on this little balcony kind of area. A lot of people just kind of forget about this. And that was a big problem trying to, like, direct people to the right area, I suppose, without, like, just hand-holding them and just giving them, like, a waypoint or something. Another problem was I just feel like I wasn't giving the player enough currency or experience. I'm calling it Volved in my game. So I wasn't giving the player enough Volv. I guess I could have just, like, simply upped the amount you got by killing enemies. That certainly would be a solution to that problem, but definitely not a very exciting one. We like big, exciting solutions at my company, my game studio, of just me here. Another problem I was having was that there just simply wasn't enough stuff to collect. My game takes a lot of inspiration from kind of like 3D platformers and collectathon kind of games, and I think I could have used a little bit more gameplay elements from that. More stuff around the map to collect, and more giving the player more of an incentive to experiment with the movement abilities. So that was another problem I was having. So I sent these 3 problems over to my R&D department, aka just my folder in Obsidian. And then I devised of a way to solve all these problems. And I came up with these purple collectible kind of things. They're kind of just like Mario coins and like Mario 64, honestly. They give you a little bit of currency when you run over them. They also charge your heal a little bit. Previously, the only way to charge your heal was by killing enemies. So now if you're in a pinch where if you really need a heal, you can hunt down some of these collectibles and charge it like that too. In addition, I can just scatter these around for places where I want the player to go. If I have these very noticeable purple particles just around, people are probably going to go want to collect them, because they have a gameplay incentive and a visual incentive of going there. So I think this is a good way of solving the problem of people getting lost and not knowing where to go. Definitely at least makes it more obvious and harder to lose track of where to go. Right now I have 2 variants of these. There's like a smaller particles, which has like 10 XP in them, and there's a larger one which has 30. I also made new UI for the Volved or heal surplus. It may not look like it, but it's kind of mechanically similar to the Hollow Knight healing system, where killing enemies gives you charge on your meter, and then that is used to fill up healing. I hope it's not too obtuse of a design. I think it's pretty straightforward, but I can see how somebody might get confused. Basically, when all of these purple eyeballs open up at the top below your XP, you get a new heal charge. Or if your heals are already full, then it just caps out at the max. On the default difficulty, you need 7 eyes. In the easier difficulty, you need 5 eyes to open up before you get a new heal. So another thing I did this month was rework the forest area a little bit, mostly just aesthetically. I wasn't really feeling how it was before. Previously it was just kind of like, just really like a just very generic forest. I decided to go more like a Deku forest route, where I made the fog really heavy and I added some glowing particles all around and scattered them about. And I think it works a lot better than what it was before because it just looks a lot more magical and mystical than the previous design. Previously it just kind of looked like a regular old forest. I was also having some issues where some of my friends playing the game were finding some areas to break certain bosses. Probably the worst offender was Ariel in the forest. One of my friends found a very easy way to cheese the forest boss by just going on top of the trees above the arena, and that pretty much just gave you a safe platform to just shoot her from above that from, and guaranteed the win. So I decided to make the trees on top of the arena more like a canopy, where there's not a whole lot of light that makes it down through the trees. So I modeled up a bunch of low poly flowers and kind of just plugged up where the pockets of air were, essentially, which made it definitely improved the problem. There was a lot less places where you could get in from above at, but I decided to just play it extra safe by also adding a kill box up there, just in case. I think this is kind of just a win-win because I also like this aesthetic of the arena a lot more. It's a lot darker in contrast to the rest of the forest area. It has kind of like a blue hue, whereas most of the forest is green. Speaking of my friends exploiting my movement mechanics in my video game, I discovered that the hooks were a very bad offender when it came to getting out of bounds. So I decided to just make it so the hooks are a one use only per jump. So when you jump and then hook onto a hook, the hook will then change color and then you can no longer attach to it until you touch the ground, where the hook will change back to the default color. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but it does feel like it's the right direction to go, at least for gameplay, because it solves a lot of problems with breaking boundaries with my game. Which, if you can break out of bounds in my game too much, it does kind of defeat a lot of the progression in my game. To some extent, I do want to let you go out of bounds and kind of explore wherever, whenever. At the end of the day, you being able to use your movement mechanics is up to you and your creativity and your skill and where you can get. But I don't want you to be able to just like skip the entire heaven area, because there's a lot to see there. Another major thing I added this past month are these incense burner things. When you walk close enough to them, they play a sound and emit some particles, like a burst of particles, and it's kind of like the equivalent of a Dark Souls bonfire or a Hollow Knight bench. Essentially, it'll just heal you, but also respawn all enemies in the world. Now, I also have tabernacles, which bring you back to the hub world, which is where you can talk to the shopkeepers and buy stuff. and it also has the same function as the incense burner, where it refills your heals, health, respawns enemies. But I decided to make these as well because I want to also have like temporary checkpoints scattered about the world. I quickly discovered that the run back to the forest boss was quite annoying, so I decided to just stick an incense burner there and let people respawn there, because it is an annoying run back and I don't want people to have to go through that every single time. I added a section in the hub world where you will be able to change outfits at. You can't change them now, but you will in the future, hopefully. I actually made a new alternative outfit for Ralphie not too long ago. You can't use it yet, but you will be able to. I promise, trust me. As far as some of the smaller stuff I did, a bunch of like quality of life stuff, a bunch of bug fixing. I'll just like rapid fire some of these. Okay, I added a bunch of new settings for audio and the camera. I made it so the arenas that you clear, they save with your save file, so you don't have to do them every single time you relaunch the game. I added some indicators for secrets on the map, so they're a lot easier to go back and find. I also just made the game more friendly for people that use mouse wheel to switch weapons with. I don't really use mouse wheel a lot. I definitely use hotkeys more, but a lot of my friends do use mouse wheel, and they pointed out some issues with that, so I think I fixed most of those. I changed Ralphie's color palette, and I think it's pretty good now. I also was having a problem where I wasn't really getting her to look angelic enough. I actually posted a post in the character design Reddit, and I got a bunch of pointers from there, and I think I decided to add a glowing tattoo on her arm and kind of like an emblem necklace, and I think that definitely helps. Could maybe use something else, but I think it's good for now. There's a ton of issues with the map that I fixed. I combed through pretty much all of the dialogue in the game. I tried my best to comb out what sounded bad, what dialogue sounded awkward, and I think for the most part all the dialogue is pretty good, but if you think anything sounds like cheesy or awkward at all, just let me know please, and I'll see what I can do to fix it. I also tried to just fill the world out a little bit more with some just commoner NPCs. There's some more angels you can just find around heaven now and talk to. I optimized a bunch of audio sources, especially the very reoccurring ones like bullet holes or blood splatters. I made them into object pools, so they're not spawning in a new audio source every single time. They can just request from the sound manager, and it's much more efficient, and it has improved performance a little bit. I gave the portal shaders a wobbly effect that are more noticeable the farther away you are, so when you go through it looks pretty accurate to the camera render texture, but when you're standing far away from it, it looks all wobbly and weird, and I think it's fun. I added some more just like ambient sound effects or character related foley sounds. I added Bug's hammer sounds. While you're in the temple, you just hear him hammering stuff while you're in there. I added some sound effects for Vincent, like reading his book and laying it on the table. I made it so you finally lose a little bit of Vald when you die, a little bit of experience. It's not that much. I think it's only like 15%, but you do die a lot. You do die a lot in this game, so it does add up. I did also add an artifact that you can collect that completely gets rid of that though, so if you don't want to lose anything on death, you can just equip that artifact and not worry about it. I also gave Vincent some more lore. You can finally talk to him and ask him something. Bug already had that, but Vincent did not, so I finally fleshed out both these characters a little bit, but there definitely is more to come. But yeah, it has been a long, stressful, agonizing month. Not even because of the game, but just because of like my life with work, just busy with friends, just a lot of stuff going on right now. But I'm happy that I am finally releasing this thing so people can actually play it. I feel like I've been teasing all of you for so long, but now you guys finally get to play it. So please go try it out on Steam. I would love if you give a positive review. I would love to hear what you think about the game. I would love to hear what you liked or disliked, or what you think I should do differently. And it's free, so what the heck, you have no excuse. Go play it right now. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this devlog. Thank you very much for watching to the end, I really appreciate that. And as always, if you would like to leave a like, a comment, or subscribe, I very much appreciate all of that. Thank you again. See you next time.